So this video is part 2 of installing the dishwasher. So I'm going to show finishing the dishwasher and then a lot of things that we did to rearrange our entire kitchen after this was done to make it more efficient and more workable. Hey everybody, I'm Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and this is part 2. In part 1, I showed building the cabinet, putting the countertop on, and some of the plumbing down underneath. And then I ran out of time. This is a big video. In this one, part 2, I'm going to show the rest of the plumbing, the electrical, getting it all installed, and then we will, like I said, show you some of the things that we've done to rearrange all the stuff on our kitchen and make it much more efficient, much more workable. So when I ran out of time on the last video, I just stopped it, just cut it off, so I will pick up right here where we left off last time. If you haven't seen the first video, I'll put a link right up here and then also in the description down below. So if you want to go back and see that, see the first part, you can see that. Now I'm finished under here, at least for the drain part. I still have to run the supply line. Well, when I put this last piece in, I glued it from underneath, glued that elbow together. I couldn't see that this wasn't straight up and down. It's not going to matter, it'll still work fine, it just doesn't look very good, but this will be covered with the side panel, so it'll be fine just the way it is. Now this is where the drain hooks in. Normally this would be the tail piece from a kitchen sink where you tie it in underneath. So I'm going to leave this open, and that might seem funny, but if this was under the sink, the drain would be right here and it's open down from above the sink, so it's not going to be any problem at all. And then this right here is a vent, so that the drain pipe down below will drain properly. It used to be every time you had a vent, you had to run a stack all the way up through the roof. But now they've got this thing, which is really cool. It's got a rubber gasket in there, and it lets air go down. When the water's draining, it sucks air. It lets air go down in there so the water drains properly. But then it seals again, and it won't let the smell from the sewer come up. So it's been around for a few years, but to me it's still new. But you know, I've been doing this for 40 years, but I really like that. It's called a drain vent. Now I need to run the supply line. Now in part 1 of this video, I got some questions about this flexible pipe that I'm using. Some people thought that it was inferior to copper, and they asked me about that. Let me say that this is far superior to copper. For one thing, it's much faster and easier. It saves a lot of labor time. You see how fast I can do one of these fittings instead of soldering it. Also, there are considerably less fittings because the pipe is flexible. I can move it around like a garden hose, and I don't have to put a bunch of elbows in there. So it's much faster and much easier to do, which saves on labor costs. But the main thing is it doesn't freeze. I forget the exact numbers now, but I think copper will only expand, if it freezes, it'll only expand something like 8% until it'll burst. The CPVC plastic pipe will expand something like 20% before it bursts. But this flexible pipe will expand, I believe, up to 80% before it'll burst. So basically, when it freezes, it doesn't burst. You don't have problems with freezing pipes. And that's one of the main reasons that I like it. Not that that's an issue here in Florida, but it certainly is in other places. So I use exclusively this pipe now.
All right, that should be good. Shut off valve here, and this hose goes to the dishwasher.
Now this is where the pipe comes down from the dishwasher, and I got to run it this way to hook into the supply. But I'm also going to put a T here and run one the other way, because I want to run an outside spigot that is hot. This is the hot, so that I can fill up my hot tub with hot water, because when I fill it with the hose, it can take a day and a half to get warm. This way, if I fill it up with hot water, then I can use it right away, which I would think would be pretty cool. Come on. For now, I'm not going to run this hose out there. I'm just going to turn off this valve. That way I can come in and hook that up later. Now normally I would buy blue pipe for cold and red pipe for hot, but for some reason when I went to buy this pipe they were out of red pipe, so I ended up with white. I figured that would be better than blue, but you can see that I am using red electrical tape to mark this as the hot, so there's no confusion. Back in the day, I used to use copper for everything. One of the things that I really like about this is you can make these connections when there's water in the line. If this was all copper and I try to make a connection and I cut into an existing pipe, water could drain out of here for a long time, and I'm trying to solder it, and then water runs down and keeps it from getting hot and then creates leaks. It was always a mess, but I don't have to worry about that with this. I could do this with water actually running out of the pipe if I wanted to. All right, good to go. That's the final connection. So I just want to mark this as being the red, the hot pipe. All right. I'm so happy to be finished with all of the connections in the crawl space. I've finished all the plumbing down underneath, so the only thing left is to make the connections here. The first thing is the electrical. All right, I got to go down underneath and tighten up those screws that hold this, clamp this in place. All right, I got the screws underneath tight, so this is solid. That keeps the wire from pulling out. Now this is 14 gauge wire, and this particular dishwasher is designed for this to be hardwired and go into a box. The last dishwasher that I installed actually had a wire with a plug on the end of it like this, so either one works. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be plugging this in to a receptacle over there on the wall. So I'm going to be installing this on the end of this wire here. I want to make sure that I have plenty. So I'm going to go ahead and install that on the end of the wire. Okay, so now I have this plug on the end of the wire, so it's time to put it all into place. This is the hot water supply line. It's got a rubber gasket inside of there, so I don't need any kind of Teflon or anything. This insulation is for sound deadening. Put some tape on it so it stays in place when I push it in. Otherwise it would all bunch up. Alright, I'm going to have to crawl up inside of here to make these final connections. There's no way I can get a camera in there. I've now got it set in place and I've got all the connections made. You can see here the drain line comes down into there. The supply line is down underneath. You can't see it. There's the plug that I'm going to be able to plug into the receptacle. Right there. So now I just need to screw it into place because right now it still moves. So I got it set in here in place where it's going to go, and there are these little clips and they go in here, and then I have to break it off right there and then screw this up into here. And that's what keeps it from moving. That locks it in place. You can also, if this was a granite countertop or something like that, these can also be installed over here on the side. But since this is wood, I'm going to do this up here. So now that locks it all in place, and it keeps it from falling out this way when you open the door. Okay, so now this is all in place and ready to go. It's all hooked up. Of course, I still have to do the wood paneling around here, that sort of thing. This whole front cover thing was covered with plastic. I pulled it off, but I still got some more little bits of plastic to take off. Main thing I want to do is just check and make sure that it's working properly. I don't know this dishwasher, I don't know these buttons at all, but we'll see what we can do here. Start. Okay, I hear something going. It's the pump, the drain pump to pump out any old water from the previous load. Of course, we don't have a previous load, so it's just running and not pumping anything. And now it is filling with water. It scared me when it came on. It was a big, like, sound when the valve opened. But now it's filling, so everything looks like it's working properly. I see any leaks down here. All right, hear that? It's running. I'm excited. Okay, so now I canceled it and it should pump all the water out. Very cool. So I'm very excited to be doing my first dishwasher load in 2 years. I really like these dishwashers that have the shelf on the top. Our one in Virginia is that way too. We like that a lot. Okay, little buddy, get to work.
Thank you so much, hon. I'm going to unload. While I'm here, I just want to say that I am highly impressed with all the stuff that you know how to do. Thank you for all the finagling it took to get this thing put in, and I'm just so glad you know what you're doing. It's so wonderful. So let me unload here. I love this on top. So useful. Okay, I'm just going to keep unloading. This is great.
So we've had a number of issues in this kitchen with not enough room, and I'm going to talk about it because I'm the one that was trying to deal with all the dirty dishes and where to put them and all that kind of stuff. Over here, this was our dish drain for the dishes after I washed them, so that took that up, okay? Microwave here. This is our cutting board, and then the sink, the stove, and over here was our Keurig and our coffee making area. So
like a drink area.
yeah, so the problem was we have dirty dishes. This was really the only place to put them. I hate putting dirty dishes in the sink because then you have to take them out before you can start. So I don't put them in there. So all the dirty dishes went here, and then eventually ended up over here, and then we couldn't access the microwave.
Microwave, yes.
And there wasn't any room over here because the coffee machine was here, and half the time I had my George Foreman grill sitting here.
Right. In fact, if the George Foreman grill was there, there was literally no room to set anything else.
Yes, and also if there were any dirty dishes at all anywhere, then we didn't have our meal prep area right here.
Yes.
So that was the issue. And then of course, the fact that I had to hand wash all the dishes anyway, which I've been doing now in this house for 2 years. So
I dried them all.
Yeah, she did. I washed them and she dried them and put them away. So we're really excited to have this dishwasher working now because it's going to solve a lot of this problem. So what are we going to do? Yeah.
Okay. This area now is going to become our beverage, refreshment, coffee, tea making area. We now have the Keurig, which I'll bring over, and it's a handy location. We have the pod holder there, which I just love. I found that at Amazon. And this is going to be handy. The water will be right here to put in for whatever we need. So this, I don't want to get rid of it in case we do need it for something, but it's going to go under the sink. And I'm going to give this a good wash, and then that'll be stored away so that we can have this area clear now. I got Bill this Keurig for Christmas. We wanted to at least try one. We both love it. We're really using it now that we've been able to find places where you can get the little pods for very inexpensive, so it's not cost so much to use it. So this is going to come over here. Plug it in. The water will be easy to access here, and the pods are going to be super easy to access on the wall there. Then I I decided that the British had had it right all along, and I got myself an electric kettle. It's wonderful for like if I want to make a lot of hot tea or something, or if I want to do it for company. That's going to go over here. This is very easy to access. This comes right out. Come on now, there we go. Like that. So I'll be able to... Whoever said I wasn't a blooper reel, but that's actually very easy to get in and out. Okay, now, a couple other things. I've had this for a while now. You know how much I love Pioneer Woman. And this has tea in there. And, ooh, that's a really lovely tea that I have. And they're ceramic, and I just love them. So that's going to go over here. And then I plug the kettle in when I'm going to use it. I don't leave it plugged in all the time. Now, one more thing. If we want to brew coffee by putting a filter in and pouring it in the top, I have this. It's a ceramic thing to brew coffee with. This sets, I'll show you here. I got this specifically to keep on the Keurig. It's easy to pour water out of that without it sloshing because it has a lip. Bill puts his coffee into a travel mug. That's how he does his every morning. So he can just brew it in here, pour it right in the travel mug, and he's good to go. So I set this up on top with some beautiful little spoons for tea or whatever for stirring that I got. I have 3 of them here and 3 of them in Virginia. You know, I like pretty stuff. Right there. And I have this because this was what I got in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. It has its own little spoon, and I really enjoy drinking some coffee out of it, or especially doing my tea out of it. But I don't think I'll leave that out here. I've got lots of special mugs right up there. So this is our beverage spot. Isn't that going to be nice? Accessible to everything. So now back over here. My bullet is going to go on some shelves that I'm going to put in right here, so that the bullet is very easy for me to access. There's been a few things that are hard for me to reach that are going to go on those shelves. And I just, now that I know the exact size, I'll know what to look for, and I'll put some shelves there.
Those shelves up there work great, except that you can't reach them.
Yeah, if it's heavy, I have a hard time up here, and I have a really hard time reaching up there. So just for some of the things I like to use a lot that is harder for me to reach, we're going to put shelves in there. It's going to be great. So this now, this will be moved, and this becomes a perfect place for us to work on, for Bill to do his George Foreman grill. He likes to do hamburgers in that, and it's going to be very, very useful spot. So besides having a dishwasher now, which is wonderful, this is so much better. We have this set up to hang pans and to hang a little splash guard and a little sieve there. Nice big work area. Another nice work area with a cutting board. Space open in front of the microwave. I rearranged this a little bit because I like this setup better. It's easier access for the water. Nice little drink area with all of our tea and coffee pods right there. So then we now have this wonderful counter space, which is kind of unaccounted for, which is wonderful. for any spillover, for anything we need, more work surface, setting things that I want to be able to put into the dining room through my pass-through window. I just don't see any reason now that we'd ever have to set dishes in front of the microwave or in the drink area. In fact, as soon as we use them, they're probably going to go right in the dishwasher. And then I will be making use of this space here. So I am very happy. And by the way, I love these shelves. They're very useful to us. It's just that Bill's the main one that can reach the heavy things up there. So I'm just making some things a little easier for me. And I have one more thing I want to show you. I'm starting my collection on this refrigerator. These are for places that we've been when we left from Florida. So we have Punta Cana, we just came back from. Here's my little Destin turtle. Costa Rica. I had been in Alabama when we went to Texas. And there's Wakulla. I got to get the Florida pronunciation.
We've been corrected on that many times.
Wakulla. Maybe that's the biggest fresh spring in the world. So, and I love this. I got this on our trip to Texas. Nothing's really lost until Mom can't find it. So I'm very happy. My sister made that quilted teapot, which is perfect there. And I haven't forgotten my beloved cow that I bought from an artist right here in town. And she's hanging right there. So, sweetheart, thank you for all the hard work.
Yep.
Really appreciate it. This is not completely done, but it's very close and it's workable now. So this is going to be a much easier kitchen. Yes.
All right, now I've got the drain all done here. I'm going to cover this up with a side panel. This is all painted white, so it matches the trim down there. I'm going to screw this on rather than nail it so that if I should ever need access to the drain, I can take this apart easily to get to it.
All right, it's looking pretty nice. Got all this trim put on here. A little thing that shows it as clean or dirty dishes. And then here's some little shelves that we put in there. And to me, adding those shelves in, besides being so convenient for me to reach some things, it just makes the whole thing look finished. I just think this is beautiful with the pass-through. Everything's still very convenient. I love it.
Well, I'm finished with all of this and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
And when we put out part one, we got a lot of comments and a lot of questions, and we just wanted to answer a couple of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There were an awful lot of people that said that we should have gotten a smaller dishwasher and put it over here instead of the standard size one over there. For one thing, we didn't want a smaller dishwasher. We wanted a full-size capacity.
So it can fit in pans and all sorts of stuff.
But another thing is that we don't have all that many lower cabinets, and if we did that, we would lose this, the cabinet and the drawer.
And the drawer, yes.
We really didn't want to do that. Another thing, a lot of you said we should have gotten a portable dishwasher. And I had one portable dishwasher younger in life. And I know a lot of you say you have it and you've used it and you've loved it. I didn't like it for the main reason that when you're using it, it's attached to the sink faucet and it runs for several hours and it basically holds the kitchen sink hostage. You can't use the sink when those hoses are attached there.
Yeah, it would need to be right there, kind of in front of the sink, and pretty much that part of the kitchen would be a little bit difficult to use.
Also, where I was using it, when I detached it, there wasn't enough room. It was just in the way all the time. That's not a problem here because we could roll it over here.
Yeah.
But the main thing is I just don't like having the sink held hostage. So this was, it's a project to install it. Now that it's here, it's permanent and we really like it.
Well, and you have to realize this has given not only definite access to this cabinet and the drawer, but I've got a whole other area now of counter space.
Right, yeah, that added additional counter space, yeah. Quite a few of you were concerned about water dripping on the floor. Basically saying that I rinse off the dishes here, carry them over there and put them in the dishwasher and everything's going to be dripping on the floor. Well, first of all, we very rarely ever rinse the dishes.
You don't need to. Modern dishwashers have a little bit of a garbage disposal in them, and if we want to put the dishes in, they just can be set here and then scraped right into the trash can right there.
Trash can is there. We just scrape it and put it in. We don't bother.
And dishes can be set through from the pass window here, pass through, set right on here, and go right into the scrape and go right into the dishwasher.
Old dishwashers, you had to rinse them. You had to practically wash them before you put them in the dishwasher. It's not the case anymore with the garbage disposal that's built in and all of that kind of stuff. It works very well. Oh, also, if I do have to rinse it, okay, so I rinse it here, put it there. The area where it would drip on the floor is only about 1.5 feet wide.
Yeah,
It's just not a problem to go from there to there.
Yeah, it's
just
not an issue.
It's just not an issue. See what else we got here. An awful lot of you also have said, and this really surprised me, said that you've had a dishwasher and you didn't like it. Either you just sat there for 20 years and you never used it, or several people said they just recently bought a house that had a dishwasher in it. They took it out because they'd rather hand wash the dishes. If that's your thing, more power to you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I can't imagine not having a dishwasher. I'm doing all of the dishes because of her hands. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I just don't have the time or the patience, and this works very well to clean the dishes. I couldn't imagine being without one. So if you don't like it, that's fine. But for us, I don't want to be without one. Now, talking about her hands. I mentioned before that I'm washing all the dishes because of the psoriasis on her hands. I have been for quite a few years. I wash them. Now I put them in there, and then she dries them and puts them away.
Yeah,
So
I unload.
you want to talk about more about your hands?
Well, just that I have psoriasis. It's fairly severe, and it means that my skin, if it gets the tiniest bit irritated, then all of a sudden it's just got the blood is very close to the surface. It gets real bad places on it. If you bump it, it bleeds. And the psoriasis I have isn't really itchy. It's painful. It never really causes me to itch very much. And so if I'm taking a quick shower or getting into a swimming pool, then that temperature is not extreme. But to really wash dishes, you need pretty hot water. And even if we use Castile soap, which we do in the truck so that our gray take stays very biodegradable, even at that, you got to have hot water. And then here in the house, we will use more like a regular dish soap. And if I've got my hands in the water like that, washing and scrubbing and stuff, they'll be okay when I first stop. But within about 36 hours, I'm telling you, it looks like somebody poured battery acid on my hands. They'll crack open and start bleeding, and it hurts. So I've tried every kind of glove.
Yeah, about 30 or 40 people said just use gloves. So what about that?
Okay, I've used them. I've used nice long ones. You get your hands inside there, and then you're going in, you're still washing dishes. Well, it gets hot and it gets sweaty inside the glove. Even if it doesn't have any kind of lining that could possibly irritate, it gets sweaty. And then when that sweat is just stuck up to my skin, and my hands get hot from washing, it's just as irritating. In fact, sometimes it's more irritating. So I honestly have tried different dish soaps, I have tried gloves, everything I can think of through all of these years. And if he gets mad at me because he can tell if I've just gone ahead and washed some stuff because I just wanted to get it done. Or
Sometimes she does it when I'm not around and she doesn't tell me, but I can tell a day and a half later because her hands just look like battery acid.
Yeah, it gets really bad. For a special occasion one time I had my eyebrows waxed, and you just would not believe how bad my eyelids got after that. It was so we've been a team. I do all the part that I can, and he's the one that's for like 2 years now, like hand washing all the dishes. And my goodness, I think it's wonderful to have a dishwasher here again and be able to just put the dishes in and keep the kitchen really easily nice and tidy, and load it up and run it, and then I unload as quick as I can. So we just put them in there as we use them. Very efficient.
Another comment that we got on a regular basis, and it's probably because the demographic of our viewers is older, and that's probably because we're older.
Because we're older, right?
But a lot of you are in your mid 70s or even into your 80s. I know this.
Sure.
So that's why you think of this, and we didn't necessarily. But the comment was, did you leave enough room here for a wheelchair to get through? And I will say, no, and it doesn't matter, and here's why.
Well, now my walker can go through here,
Okay,
but a
still,
wheelchair wouldn't. No.
but still, you're not going to use your walker there. Here's why.
Here's why. All right, here is the kitchen door.
Outside is a narrow stairway with steps down. So there's no way that a walker or a wheelchair would go out this door anyway because of these narrow steps. We didn't build these steps. These were like this when we bought it.
Well, and in case of a fire, it's still a good egress. You could get out, but I can't think of any reason I'd be absolutely needing to put even my walker, let alone a wheelchair, out there. Let us show you the wonderful place that we have if we ever have to bring in a wheelchair or something from an ambulance or something like that. So we have a beautiful wide hallway. It's 4 feet wide. Nice big door. Another nice big door out onto a ramp. So that is very easy access. So
This ramp was here when we bought it.
Yes.
For the previous tenant or the previous owner. So that's why, quite frankly, I never even thought about access through that door.
Yeah. It would not be where anybody would be putting a wheelchair. If somebody had to come in here with an ambulance even, they would do it this way.
Right. So there it is, our new dishwasher. I'm very excited about having it.
I am so thankful he can do stuff like this. I'd be lost trying to install something like this. Yeah. And it's working really well. We've been using it.
Yeah, we've been using it for a few days and it's working great.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching.
Yes, live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
All right, love you guys. We will be seeing you very soon.
All right.
Bye.